selection committee has concluded that we were unable to offer you an acceptance. Welcome back to another video, guys, and in today's video I'll be sharing with you a story. My story, how I got into med. So before I get into anything, of course, I'll share with you a quote, and the quote is: "Never beat yourself up for what may seem like a mistake. It was necessary for you to walk that path to learn those lessons." And that is going to get us right into the story. So I have I would say a very motivating story as to how I got into medicine. I have shared that story with a prior medical student, which I believe would have been in their second year now, and I decided why not share it on YouTube just the same. Now, I've told you guys before that I was adamant about, I wanted to do medicine. I want to be a doctor. So going through high school and you're doing your sciences and all that works, go come see year 1, year 2, and by the time I reach year 2, it's time to submit those applications, right? So the application is supposed to open, I believe, in November, December, if I'm not wrong. But my application filled out from about August. So September, October, November, December, 4 months in advance. So my application was finished from August because I was ready and I was adamant that I am going to UWI. UWI is where I will be. Now, sending out my applications, and I have to do exams and all that, and then they sent out a preliminary acceptance telling you that they've received your application and they are waiting on grades to give you a confirmation to your acceptance. No, me say that and I say, yeah man, you accept me and you me go, and I done prepare myself mentally that I am going to you. I started shopping for moving on hall, because I also applied to live on the 80 Preston Hall, and I got accepted for Preston. So I'm waiting on my acceptance, waiting and waiting and waiting. I did my CAPE Unit 2 and results were back. And then after a while, UWI started sending out acceptances. Every day I would hear of persons who are, getting accepted, and I'm there checking my email. I ain't getting any from UWI. So I'm like, what is this now? Then it came to about the week before hall orientation. So like, I remember specifically I was supposed to move on hall August 22nd. And on the 21st, my cousin called me and said, you're ready for move up already? You pack up and everything? And I'm like, no, me not move up because you haven't accepted me. I haven't been accepted to do the degree program. I've only been accepted on hall. And his advice to me was, yeah man, you need to move up tomorrow because you need to go move on hall and secure your room and all of that. So I'm like, alright, fine. That same day I went to pay the hall fee, because I didn't pay the hall fee because I did not get any confirmation that I was in fact going to UWI. So it was raining, and it was raining, and I went and I paid the hall fee, and I came home and I packed up. I packed a small bag, like a week's clothes, because I knew I had to come back home for my cousin's funeral. So I knew I was coming back home in short notice. So I packed my necessities and I was like, okay, I am moving up the following day to wake up by about 4 o'clock to leave Hanover to get to Kingston by about 9 o'clock. So that's an early wake for a early travel. Anyway, I was there almost finished closing up my bags and everything, and then I got an email. Now I'm getting so excited. I have goosebumps all over. I get nervous. I'm saying, yes, no, you email me. Thank you for applying to the University of the West Indies Mona campus for the entry in August 2018. After completing a careful review of your application and its supporting credentials, our admissions selection committee has concluded that we were unable to offer you an acceptance. It's a long whole email. I never bother read no more, cause instantly I water reach on my eye because I failed at my dream. Not only that, I am packed to leave Hanover to go to Kingston in less than about 5 hours. So right there I was devastated. I called back my cousin and I'm like, they just told me that they don't have a space for me. I don't know what I'm going to do. I just pay my hall fee. What am I going to do? I was so confused. I was destroyed. Then he advised me that a lot of persons go the science and technology faculty and then switch over to the medical faculty. And then I said, fine, I mean, that's the only option I have, right? So I was going to Kingston to do science and technology, which I had no interest in whatsoever. I was just gonna do it for do its sake. And I went to school, and upon starting the orientation process on hall, I was still adamant that I am doing medicine because one, that's a whole year in my life that I would be doing something that I did not want to do. And second of all, there was no guarantee that after doing that 1 year that I would be able to get into med. So I was like, I'm not wasting that year. I'm not wasting that money. No, 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 no. So during the whole orientation process, orientation was orientation. I was mourning the loss of my cousin and I was mourning the loss of my degree. So I would call the admissions office day in, day out. I tried admissions, I tried calling the faculty, the dean, the secretary, anybody. I would ring any number that was affiliated to UE and ask for a transfer or give me a number for this person, how I can speak. I would call, I would spend thousands. I did spend thousands of dollars on phone card, calling and calling and calling and calling and calling. And at one point I said, fine, I'm going to just register for my science and technology courses. And I got some assistance from one of my friends who were actually registered for science and technology. And I started science and technology I did that for about a week. In the orientation, I was a bit late because, I mean, I'm not interested, so, you know. When I went there and I sat down, the first person that went on the platform, on the podium to speak, said that, I know a lot of you in here just to switch to med, but let me tell you today, a lot of you won't make it. And at that moment, Kimali take up her bag and walk through the door. I was not interested in anything else after that because that man just crushed my dream even further. And to this day, it's not that I hate him, but I just have a strong feeling every time I see him. After leaving that orientation, I went home and I was crying. I was crying. You would think somebody beat me. I was literally screaming. I had a friend who lived on the same hall that I lived on, and she came by to visit me and she was just encouraging me that, you know, something is going to happen. Don't worry about it, just keep trying, you'll figure something out, something will happen. And then after she left, I said, okay, I'm going to call one last time. I went on my phone and I bought some credit from the My Digicel app, and I sat down and I stopped crying and did a whole, you know, and I called me the first phone call to the admissions office, and when they picked up the phone, they said, "Is this Kimali Miller?" And I said yes, and they said, "We were just about to call you." At that moment in time, it's like my chest, it just rise, it just go up, and I'm like, "Is that so?" And they were on the phone telling me that, we can offer you a space in the program, but if we are to give you this space, it must be a full financing spot, and once you accept it as a full financing spot, you have to continue all through the 5 years. After hearing that, I was like, yes, I accept. Do I need to send an email for confirmation? What do I need to do? I accept the offer and I'm moving forward. Mind you, I didn't put much thought into all of that, because starting as a full financing student, or tuition currently is quoted in US, so it's $28,000 US per year for 5 years. Now that is a lot of cash, right? So I done tell the lady that I accepted the offer, and after coming off the phone, I was so happy. I was excited. I am finally getting an opportunity to pursue my career, Then I started thinking about, I need to call my mother. So I called my mother and I'm like, "Well, mommy, after 1,000,001 phone calls, they offered me a spot, but..." And she's like, "Yeah, man, I'm so happy." And she's on the phone so happy and rejoicing, and then I'm like, "But..." And she's like, "But what?" So I said, "Well, the only spot that they can offer me is a full financing spot, which means I have to pay all my tuition, no sponsorship from the government, all my tuition by myself for 5 years." So mommy is like, "Well, you have to go to school and that is what you need to do, so we need to figure it out. You have to figure it out." And I'm like, "Okay, I'm going to go online and I'm going to see how I can get some sponsorship, a bursary or something." So immediately after getting off the phone with my mother, I went online and I was talking to some other persons about, sponsorships or bursaries that were available to medical students. So one of my friends who also got the same full financing spot, she actually told me about the bursary, where they would pay half of that tuition, and then the other half is either you're gonna pay out of pocket, or you get a loan, student loan, or you find some other way to pay the other 50. So I went through the whole process, got all the documents that they needed and submitted and everything. I started school. They did not tell me that I will get that 50%. They didn't. And my mother never paid the other 50. But I was going to school because school have to go. And that's the degree that we're going at. Anyways, about 2 weeks into school, I got that email saying that, you've been granted the 50% bursary, and it will be reflected on your account mid-semester. You just have to keep up your grades and whatever. And I was like, God is good. God is great, because here I was moving from not having a spot to having a spot with $1 million to pay, to having a spot with half of that being paid. No, it was not the most ideal option, because it's expensive to find all that money, and for go take student loan or whichever way you choose to pay it. I mean, that's a lot of debt after ending school. But I was, however, grateful. I really was, because here I am almost at the end of my third year, first semester, and I believe if it was not for my perseverance and determination to get into medicine, I probably would not have moved up on Hall in the first place, or I probably would have just settled at doing science and technology. Now I share this story with you because a lot of persons don't necessarily get the outcome that they is reflected based on their input. You may not get exactly what you want, but like the quote said earlier, that some things we feel like is a mistake, or it's something bad or wrong that happened to us. It happened for us to learn that lesson. You had to walk that path to learn that lesson. So I learned perseverance and determination in doing so. So for all my prospective medical students, or already medical students, or persons who are just going into university, I implore you to be perseverant and to be determined in getting to wherever you ought to be, wherever you intend to be, because all things are possible through Christ who strengthens us. And to close, I'll share with you a medical fact. Now, despite the current pandemic that can be quite distressful and it's not a very happy time for most persons, in laughing, the body releases a substance called endorphin, and endorphin stimulates or promotes your overall well-being. So despite the trying time, surround yourself with family, stay strong, and keep smiling, and moreover, get to laughing. Now, thank you for watching, and remember to like, share, and subscribe. Leave a comment down below if you so desire.